The Cleveland Browns, with 4 games left to go here in season number 1, are headed to Chicago, facing off against Caleb Williams and the Bears, a team who is certainly in the mix for a playoff spot currently at 7-6. I have slightly changed the plans for how we're going to wrap up this season. I was originally going to get it done in 2 episodes, but instead we're going to do it in 3. Octi, how could you? I want to get to the offseason. Well, I understand, but I felt like this was the easiest way to do it. We go through the Bears game today, and then over the last 2 episodes, we'll have a doubleheader in there, and then, of course, another prospect profile where we go over the linebackers and defensive backs in this year's draft class. Last episode, speaking of, we had another prospect profile going over tight ends, offensive line, and defensive linemen in this class, and since that episode, we've gotten to watch 4 more playoff games, and players' stocks have gone up and down as a result. I haven't changed them yet inside the draft class, but Terrence Flowers of Notre Dame had another 100-yard game, while Bradley McPhee, the USC tight end, kind of struggled, and David Nzegwu probably passes him for tight end 1. I thought Anthony Devy and Cassius Boulder both looked good in the Notre Dame-Georgia game. Perfection Winston did allow a sack, his first of the year. Branson Lighton-Marklin, who hadn't played in about 2 months, was awesome for Ohio State. He had one block in particular on a run play where he just leveled the defender, while Capizzi struggled for USC, as did the entire Trojan offensive line. The gap between Stephon Battle and Oluwafemi Oladipo grows. Oladipo was quiet. Battle was excellent for Georgia. And then Kelvin Pipp, I thought, was the best of Notre Dame's 3 pass rushers slated to go in the top 100. Cynthia Mathias, meanwhile, looked everything like a top 10 pick, outplaying USC's Jalen Jackson and Ohio State's win over the Trojans. We're also going to see quarterbacks moving up and down the board. I think Kieran Riddle is continuing to cement himself as the number 1 pick. Brennan Holloway's stock is most likely moving down. He really struggled against Georgia, while guys like Tyree Wells and Wambly Mendoza have looked excellent in the playoff. Mendoza leads the Buckeyes to a Final Four spot. Kieran Riddle and Alabama also in the semifinals. Alabama will play Georgia. Ohio State will play Texas Tech. But once we get to the offseason, players' stocks are going to look a lot different, especially at quarterback, given it's been so long since we originally made that list. We also played the Titans in the last episode, winning 31-24. A game that started off kind of ugly. Cam Ward turned the ball over 4 times in the first 2.5 quarters, but he really got going as the game went along. But a late drive by Shedeur Sanders would lead the Browns to the win. 2-8 with Joe Flacco as a starter. 2-1 with Shedeur Sanders. I wouldn't say he's lit the world on fire per se, but there's been a new level of swagger with Shedeur as the quarterback, and a new level of confidence for the offense that just wasn't there when Joe Flacco was in. And we're going to have a very interesting decision come draft time if we want to pick a quarterback or roll with Shedeur going into next year, especially if we continue to win games. There's a 6-way tie for the worst record in the NFL at 4-9, but for whatever rhyme or reason, the tiebreaker would have us all the way at the 6th pick. We would get kind of screwed over here. And, well, the Jets would pick a quarterback, the Panthers, the Saints, the Colts, they all need QBs. We would probably miss out. So if we did keep the pick, I think you'd look at someone like T.K. Dicer for Ohio State. He had 10 catches against USC. Or Cabal Monroe, the freaky edge rusher out of Duke, assuming both players even make it to our pick to begin with. Let's now look at the Bears, 7-6. They've had a strong first season under Ben Johnson. They've been inconsistent throughout the year, but they do currently hold a spot in the playoffs. They have lost 2 games in a row, got blown out by the Eagles on Black Friday, and lost a big game to the Packers last week. They're still currently the 6th seed, though. They'd play Atlanta if the season ended today. But the NFC North looks really competitive. The Packers are the number 1 seed. The Lions have won 4 in a row, and you've got all these 6 and 7 teams, many of whom the Bears don't have the tiebreaker against, so they're kind of hanging on for dear life. Second-year quarterback Caleb Williams leads the offense. It's been a weird year for Caleb. I think overall he's been kind of disappointing. The big strength of his game last year as a rookie was the lack of turnovers and the decision-making. 6 interceptions last year, 17 this year, but look at the sacks. He's been sacked less than just about anybody, which is a major surprise. Obviously, it speaks to the offensive line, but it also speaks to Caleb doing a good job under pressure. No DeAndre Swift, so the rookie out of Rutgers, Kyle Monangai, will be the lead running back. Really fun group of receivers with DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, and the rookie Colston Loveland at tight end, and some talented players defensively, including the corner duo of Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. They also signed Rasul Douglas out of free agency as well. This is a big must-win game for Chicago with 4 games left. They control their own destiny. They currently hold a playoff spot, but if they lose, with all those teams behind them who have the tiebreaker over the Bears, things could get a little bit dicey. The Browns, meanwhile, are playing some good football, winners of 2 in a row. Sure, these wins are hurting our draft position, but truthfully, I think winning these games and setting the culture and foundation for this football team is going to prove to be more impactful in the long run than a couple of draft slots. Now, that's easier said than done now. Maybe we miss out on an awesome quarterback as a result. Williams goes play action. He finds Cole Kmet, who gets 17 yards for a Bears first down. 3rd and 3 now at the 49. Williams in empty here for Chicago as he looks to throw it. Williams has plenty of time. Scrambles up the middle. Luther Burden, the rookie out of Missouri, drafted in the 2nd round, brings it to the 35. Following play here for the Bears. They're moving it well so far. Williams under pressure, escapes on the run. Monungai's got it, and he is in for a score. Grant Delpit tried to go for the big hit, jarred the ball out, go for the big play rather than the simple tackle, and it completely backfired. Monungai, the first to score, the 7th rounder, who's had a really strong year, largely playing in a complementary role with DeAndre Swift, but now replacing him as he looks to get healthy. To the 39, Cedric Tillman with the first down. Got to see a few guys play well last week, including Jahan Dotson, who had his best game as a Brown so far. 3rd and 4, Sanders looks to throw it. Clean pocket, now under some pressure. Rolls to the right and is incomplete. Hit by Montez Sweat. The Browns, of course, still missing multiple starters along the offensive line as the Bears get it back. 2nd and 10 from the 49. Williams looks to throw it under pressure, and he's wrapped up. The rookie, Mason Graham, his 10th of the year. What a season it has been for the 5th pick out of Michigan. Couple of SoCal guys colliding there in the backfield as it's 3rd and 18. Williams looks to throw it, has time, wants it all, looking for DJ Moore, and it's broken away. Caleb's first incompletion of the game. Cameron Mitchell is the one who gets a hand on it, and the Browns get it back. 2nd and 5. Shedeur Sanders looks to throw it. Sanders steps up, scrambles, and runs for the first down, diving at the 40. Really nice play by Shedeur as Carson Vincent, the right tackle, is hurt, starting in place of the injured Jack Conklin, who we're hoping will be back healthy next week, along with Wyatt Teller. Play action for Judkins. Sanders does not escape. This time, Za Frazier, the rookie from UTSA, comes in off the corner blitz. Very physically talented prospect. I thought that was a really nice pick by Chicago on day 3. 3rd and 12, Fannin comes down with it. He gets 8. So the Bears do get the stop. TJ Edwards leads the way with the tackle. That'll wrap up the first quarter here in the Windy City. A 7-0 lead for Chicago. Caleb Williams has been very impressive so far for Chicago. We'll see if they can keep it going into the second quarter. The last drive was not quite as good. The Browns' pass rush looked impressive, including the sack by Mason Graham. 3rd and 3 at the 27. Caleb looks to throw it. Dances around. He'll go short. DJ Moore with a spin move. Great play after the catch. Gain of 13 yards for Moore. That'll move the chains for the Bears. 2nd and 9 now from the 48. Williams under center. He'll go play action. Caleb has all day, and that one is hauled in. I thought Delpit was going to make a play on the ball. Risky throw by Caleb Williams. He's kind of lucky that was not a turnover. Again, 17 interceptions. That leads the NFL. From the 37, Williams connects. It's Colston Loveland, the rookie from Michigan. Why is Myles Garrett in coverage? Can we never do that again, please? Okay. 2nd and 7 at the 15. It's Monungai up the middle. Spin move. Monungai to the 2. We've largely held him in check so far. He pretty much doubled his yardage on that run. Given our run defense has really not played well since Jerome Baker got traded and Carson Schlesinger got hurt, we've been good in that area, but the pass defense has really suffered as a result. Colston Loveland in for a score, and the Bears add to the lead 14-0. A prospect I was really high on coming out of Michigan. I did have him above Tyler Warren. So far, not looking good as the Browns have it back. Shedeur scrambles around on the run. Sanders tries to escape, and he cannot. Eventually wrapped up out of bounds. Another sack for the Bears. Sanders has been sacked pretty much the same amount of times now that Joe Flacco has this year. Is on 3rd and 12. Sanders escapes, looking to lob it up for Isaiah Bond. And it's broken away in the secondary by Kyler Gordon. He should have thrown that ball earlier. Bond was kind of open for a while. Bears have it back, under 4 to go in the second. Williams wide open. He's got Loveland again. Colston Loveland, a gain of 31 yards. He's been uncoverable so far today in Ben Johnson's offense. 3rd and 7 at the 26. Williams looks to throw it. He'll scramble, tucks it, runs, gets the first down inside the 15, inside the 10 to the 9. A gain of 17. We have not been able to contain the QB scramble at all. A direct result of not having Jerome Baker and Carson Schlesinger, because this was not a problem when those two guys were on the field. 2nd and goal, Monangai to the right side into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Bears add to the lead. It's 21-0. All 3 touchdowns scored by rookies. Second at the game for Monangai. He's got 1 on the ground and now 1 through the air. 3rd and 3. Sanders connects. Jamari Thrash with the first down. Browns are going to use a timeout. Could this be the spark that Cleveland's offense needs? We've been largely lifeless on the offensive side of the ball today, as it's 3rd down and 11 at the 47. Sanders looks to throw it. Under pressure. No one's open. And he is wrecked in the backfield by Gervin Dexter. Through 2, it's been all Chicago. The Bears ahead 21-0. The Browns don't look too hot. The offense has been pretty horrible. The defense has been pretty horrible. We have not crossed the 50 once and have punted the ball after every possession so far. As we take a look at our halftime report across the rest of the NFL. On Thursday night, the Falcons and the Bucs. Tampa Bay has to be nearly flawless if they want to get back to the postseason. Well, this is a good start. Mike Evans with a ridiculous one-handed catch in the end zone, leading Tampa Bay to the win, 31-17. Of course, no Michael Penix in Atlanta. He's hurt. Kirk Cousins currently starting for the Falcons, looking to hold on to that division lead. 6-7 Raiders versus the 6-7 Philadelphia Eagles. What a disappointing season it's been for Philadelphia after winning the Super Bowl last year. And things would go from bad to worse. 21-0. The Raiders dominating. What a catch by Jacoby Myers. I know our defense was pretty pitiful against the Raiders a few weeks ago, but I think that might just be because the Raiders' offense is really good. They've been red hot over the last month. Bills and Patriots. New England has to win this game if they want a real shot at the AFC East. Look at James Cook throwing defenders off his back. Bills leading a close one, 10-6 at the break. That's the only touchdown so far in this game. Remember, New England started the year off hot, 3-0. They've certainly come back down to earth since then, but their impressive start and maybe a win today would be very helpful in terms of winning the division or even making the playoffs, as they're currently the first team out of a wild card spot with the Texans and the Titans narrowly ahead of them. Here in Chicago, this game has not been overly dramatic or suspenseful or close. So far, the Browns have played pretty pitiful. Probably our worst half of the entire season. I mean, the offense looks lifeless. This is not what we've seen with Shedeur Sanders so far. That level of swagger and confidence that I talked about earlier is gone. Quinshon Judkins is 5 yards. Judy hasn't caught the ball. Monangai does not have 109 rushing yards. He really only has about 60. And of those 60, roughly half of them came on the final drive when the Bears were running the ball and we were in prevent defense. So I actually think our run defense has been really the only positive, as Njoku only gets 4. I thought he was going to be open. I think Shedeur kind of thought Jalen Johnson was going to be in man coverage and not stay in the flat. So good job there by Johnson to bait him into making the throw. Williams is sacked on 3rd down by Mike Hall, the youngster from Ohio State. Through our first 12 games of the year, Hall only had 2.5 sacks, but over the last 2, he's got 3. Really starting to turn it on. Remember, he had that great preseason as we start at the Bears' 44-yard line. The first time today the offense has it past the 50. And it's not even because of the offense. It's because we won the field position battle and got a good punt return by Isaiah Bond. From the 34 now, Sanders goes short. Njoku, we're getting a couple early first downs. We're starting to move the ball, taking advantage of our field position. From the 22, a little bit under halfway through the 3rd, Sanders hands it off. Judkins, it's been that kind of day for the run game as Dexter is hurt for the Bears. I mean, we've had nothing going on the ground whatsoever. Judkins has been great over the last couple of weeks, and it's not really his fault. The run blocking's been terrible. But on 2nd and 11, Shedeur connects with Jerry Jeudy finally to the 5. Judy's played very well since the quarterback switch. Today, he's taking a trip to Jalen Johnson Island. 2nd and goal at the 4. Ford, spin move, and he is in. Jerome Ford's first touch of the game goes for a touchdown, vulturing Quinshon Judkins' goal line carries. I know Judkins fantasy owners in the playoffs probably are not too thrilled. We're going to go for 2 here. Try to make it a 13-point game. Sanders looks to throw it. It is caught by Njoku. So when you're down by 2 scores and then score a touchdown, you're supposed to go for 2. Try to cut the lead down to 6. We're not at that point yet, but I figure why not just get ahead of the game? Why not go for 2 now? Ultimately, it works. 21-8. Bears have it back. 5 minutes left in the third. Williams will look to throw it. Williams looking up the middle. It's caught by Rome Odunze, breaking the tackle to the 38. Rome has been quiet so far in this game, but he gets one of the longer plays for the Bears offense, looking to rebound after a not-so-good drive to start the third quarter. Following play at the 38, Caleb Williams in empty, looks to throw it, dances around, scrambles, runs up the middle to the 22, and the Bears are moving it again. This looks a lot more like the offense we saw from them in the first half. 3rd and 11 now at the 14. Williams to Manungai to the left side. Tries to break the tackle from Jenkins. He does. Not quite able to get into the end zone for what would be his 3rd touchdown of the game, but he does get it to the 4. 1st and goal. Williams hands it off. Manungai smothered in the backfield for a loss by Devin Bush. He had a great game last week against Tennessee. 2nd and goal. Williams rolls out to the left, scrambles, runs it in for a Bears touchdown. They're back up by 3 scores. Flex on him. Caleb Williams, he's had himself an afternoon, and again, what otherwise statistically has been an underwhelming season for him. Bears are going to go for 2. They're going to try to copy us, and it does not work. Cole Kmet stopped shy of the end zone by Grant Delpit. So us going for 2 and getting it really ends up being a 2-point swing, because not only do we get an extra point, but the Bears go for 2 and don't get it, so they lose a point out of it. Work smarter, not harder, kids. 3rd and 8 at the 22. Sanders goes short. Sampson, whoop, spin move, 1st down, juke move. What a play after the catch. A gain of 17 for Dylan Sampson. A lightning bolt in space. He is dynamic. I want to try to find ways to get him the ball more these last few weeks. Sanders takes a shot, and he is banged up after the play. Sanders has gotten wrecked multiple times in this game. He's taken a beating this afternoon. It looks like he's grabbing his chest. We're not going to go with Joe Flacco, but instead, Dylan Gabriel, his first NFL snaps. I figure, why not? We're down by 19. We might as well see what we have with the kid. 2nd and 10. Gabriel's first NFL play from scrimmage. He's going to scramble and run for a gain of around 5. It's bruised rib for Sanders. He can play through it, but he's gotten hit so many times today. I don't really see the point. Why not get another quarter of film for Dylan Gabriel? He hasn't gotten any regular season snaps yet. Why not see what the kid's made of? 3rd and 5. Gabriel's first NFL pass should have been intercepted. That was brutal. Looking for TJ Edwards on the play. That'll wrap up the third. 27-8. The Bears are in control. Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback for the Browns for the rest of the way. Who knows? Maybe he plays really well. Maybe he gets a start or 2 towards the end of the year, and maybe he's the guy who we try to go with into next year if we don't end up drafting a quarterback. Bears will start at the 31 to open the 4th. Williams, play action, looks to throw it, ball's out, and the Bears quickly recover. Joe Tryon Shoyinka with the strip sack. All of our starting defensive linemen have gotten sacks today, except for Myles Garrett, who's had back-to-back quiet games. Could be losing that Defensive Player of the Year, which once looked like a lock. The Nungai on 3rd and 14 gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Greg Newsome with the tackle, and that will force a punt. Browns have it back at the 33. Gabriel still in at quarterback as he hands it off for Quinshon Judkins. And again, much of the same. It's hard to get on Quinshon. The blocking has just been brutal in the run game. As it's now a 2nd and 12 at the 31, Sampson again gets nothing. It doesn't matter who's in at running back. Judkins and Sampson both continue to get stuffed at the line. That was Tremaine Edmonds with the hit, and now we're looking at a 3rd down and 12. Gabriel looks to throw it, rolls out to the right side. He'll go short. It's caught by Jamari Thrash. Nowhere to go as he gets around 6 or 7. 6-7. We're going to go for it here on 4th and 5. I mean, we're down by, 19 points? There's no reason not to here. Let's see what Dylan Gabriel can do on a 4th down. Gabriel stays in the pocket. His throw is not a good one, but it is caught for a 1st down by Judy. The one thing I will say about that pass is he kept it away from the defense to where only Judy could get it. So it really wasn't that bad of a throw, but a little inaccurate. Nonetheless, we'll keep moving as Harold Fannin gets it to the 28. The 2 rookies connecting on that one. It seems like Gabriel's been fairly accurate. He's got pretty good command of the offense, although he only gets 4 with David Njoku. Good tackle again by Jalen Johnson. And once more, we're going to go for it here on 4th and 1, because with 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, why not? Judkins, probably his best run of the game, as he gets 11. Finally, room from the blocking in the offensive line, as it's now 3rd and goal from the 2. Gabriel to Judkins with blocks, high-stepping into the end zone for a touchdown, and the Cleveland Browns are back on the board. A strong touchdown drive from Dillon Gabriel. He hasn't really... What the hell is the camera doing? What in the world? Okay, Caleb connects with Loveland for 10. As I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted, I think Gabriel was pretty accurate on that drive. He really didn't look downfield. He didn't really go through his progressions, but he got the ball out quick. As Monungai does not get it on 3rd and 1. That's Grant Delpit with the tackle. Browns are going to call time. Hey, you never know. We're only down by 12. I've seen crazier. Not much crazier, but perhaps crazier. Gabriel up the middle. He's got Jerry Jeudy to the 36, and we're going to move quickly back to the line. Tick, 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 tick. Minute 45 now. Gabriel, no one's open downfield. He'll go short for Sampson. Fumble, it's out! And the Bears pick it up. Jaquan Brisker delivers 5 big booms, and Rasul Douglas hops on it to potentially ice the game for Chicago. No need to really review that one. That was clear as day. A fumble. Bears have it back, 3rd and 16. They're not running it too well on this drive as Monungai loses 2 more. Channing Tindall with the tackle. Browns are out of timeouts, and the Bears are going to let this clock go. We'll get it with 20 seconds here as Gabriel is intercepted by Kyler Gordon, and that will do it for good. Hard to really get on Dillon Gabriel for that pass. There's 20 seconds left. It's 3rd down. What is he going to do? Throw it away? He kind of had to force it up there. I hope he gets lucky. Ultimately, he does not. As the Bears snap Cleveland's win streak, they win it 27-15. Much needed win for Chicago in a tight NFC North battle. 2 games behind the Packers, tied with Detroit for one of the wild card spots. The Bears do it the tiebreaker currently over the Lions, while the Browns fall to a record of 4-10. This was probably the worst team performance we've had with Shedeur Sanders as the starter. The offense just was anemic out there. We couldn't run the ball. We couldn't really throw the ball. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot going for us, although the offense was better in the second half, as was the defense. The Bears didn't score in the final 15 minutes of the game, but Caleb Williams overall was really impressive. 19 of 24, 242, 2 passing touchdowns, had 1 on the ground. Neither quarterback was great. Neither of them were horrible. I know the passer rating for Gabriel looks low, largely because of the interception, but he was accurate. Didn't really have anything going downfield, however. I thought the Bears' coverage was terrific. As I've said, I think wide receiver is the biggest overall need on our roster. Busy game for Monungai, 26 for 87. Not overall very efficient. Neither was Judkins, though. We could not run the ball really at all. We've ran it extremely well over the last few weeks. Today, not so much. 9 catches for Njoku, 76 yards for Loveland. The 2 tight ends really standing out. And then defensively, we were pretty bad in the first half. Definitely got better, but it was more so the Bears kind of let the pedal off the metal. They were up by multiple scores the entire rest of the way. We did send some pressure, although Myles Garrett had another quiet game. He's in real danger of losing his Defensive Player of the Year. As I mentioned earlier, it seemed like a lock at one point. Now, I don't know. TJ Watt is catching up. So at 4-10, as of this very second, we do have the number 1 pick because nobody else has played. Now, as we know, whatever the tiebreaker is, we're currently projected to pick after all of the other 4-win teams. So we are certainly hoping the Vikings, Colts, Jets, Panthers, Saints, we are rooting for these teams to win. And obviously, we're rooting for Jacksonville to lose. Trevor Lawrence has been out of the lineup due to an injury, but he is back healthy today for the Jags, although they will be without Travis Hunter still, who pulled his groin. As for us, we're going to get a lot of guys back from injury. Denzel Ward did not end up playing in this game due to an ankle sprain. Wyatt Teller will be back. Jack Conklin will be back. So we're going to get healthier for the final stretch of the year. As we take a look at our weekly recap for Week 15, we will start in the Windy City. The Browns versus the Bears. Cleveland looking to up the win streak to 3. Continue the momentum here with Shedeur Sanders as QB1. He started the game, but he did not finish it. He was not benched due to performance, though, but more so he took a lot of hits. He was banged up, and I did not feel like it would be fair to have him out there. Nonetheless, the offense really was unimpressive, regardless if it was Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel at quarterback. And on one hand, it certainly looked like neither of those guys could elevate an offense, but on the other hand, this offense has a lot of problems outside of the QB. Lions and Rams, Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford. The Lions have won 4 in a row, finally adjusting without their new coordinators, and the win streak would continue with this incredible touchdown by Amon-Ra St. Brown. 35-28, both Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford playing well, but Jared Goff gets the final laugh. It looks like he owns Matthew Stafford. That's 3 times in a row now. Goff has had his number. So the Bears win, the Lions win. What about the Packers? They're headed to Denver to face off against the Broncos at 6-7, needing a win for playoff implications. Look at the rookie, Matthew Golden, annihilates the defender, 24-3, convincing win for the Packers. So Green Bay holds on to their 2-game lead. It would be a major surprise that they do not end up winning the NFC North, as they are still positioned to get the number 1 overall seed right now in the NFC. As we look at some scores across the rest of the NFL, the Jets win. They beat Jacksonville, double whammy. So not only did the Jets win, which is great, but Jacksonville loses. Panthers beat New Orleans. Okay, well, it's not great that New Orleans lost, but at least Carolina won. The Vikings also won. So this ended up being a really good week for us in terms of draft position. Of the 6 teams who had 4 wins, 3 of them, Carolina, Minnesota, and the Jets, all won. So now it's us, the Colts, and the Saints at 4-10. So we move up all the way from the 6th pick to the 3rd pick, which technically would put us in position to get a quarterback. But with Brennan Holloway's stock going down and someone like Tyree Wells, who's been on the rise, possibly returning to school, I wouldn't be so confident yet if you want the Browns to pick a quarterback. Maybe we just pick Clyde Poole, piss everybody off. Matthew Stafford, Damone Clark, Jamar Chase, and Azeez Al-Shaair win the Players of the Week. We've got 3 games to go. The Bills, who ended up losing to New England, they're within a game. They need to win this one. Then we've got the Steelers, who are the 5 seed fighting for a playoff spot, and the Bengals in Week 18. They might be out by then, but if they win some games, who knows? We're going to have a prospect profile soon. I don't know if it'll be the next one or the following, but nonetheless, I hope everyone enjoyed. Again, apologies for the shorter episode. The next 2 will come out quicker than normal, though, so that's good. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace out.